just switch from one language to the other, you know, because they speak multiple languages here. Now, after high school here on this island, you know, if the kids, you know, they want to go and study, you know, to have a career, you know, they are given scholarships by the government. So both sides of the island do give scholarships to their students who want to go overseas and study. And here on the Dutch side, they can choose to go to Curacao. They can also go to Aruba, that's a few Caribbean islands. And they can also go to the United Kingdom. They can choose to go to the US. And they can also choose to go to Holland. Now on the French side, they can choose to go to Guadeloupe. They can choose to go to Martinique. They can go to France and also to the United Kingdom. And guys, we do have a university here. It's pretty small. It is located on the Dutch side. It is called the University of St. Martin. It is an extension of Johnson and Wales. You know, those of you Americans, what you have in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So the kids can get their associates right here. And then here's some calls, guys. And then move on to get their, you know, their bachelors, their masters, and so forth. Now in just a bit, we will be leaving the French side and crossing back over to the Dutch. In just a bit, you will see where the flags are flying. And that is another border separating the Dutch from the French. Again, the vertical stripes is the French, the horizontal is the Dutch, and the flag with the crest, or the coat of arms, that is the flag of St. Martin. And guys, we also have a monument with the year 1648, and that is in commemoration with the Unity and Friendship Treaty that was signed between the Dutch and the French. You just live in peace and harmony. Over 370 years since that treaty was signed, and to my knowledge, there has never been any fighting, no quarreling, no bickering back and forth between the Dutch and the French. Just everybody living together, you know, as one. You know, one island, two nations, one people, one destiny. That's our motto here. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dames en heren, jongens en meisjes, we zijn allemaal weer in het Nederland kant van het island. We're now back on the Dutch side. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now guys, you know, 23 years ago, that was the 5th of September 1995, we had another devastating hurricane here. That was Hurricane Louise, category 5 plus, and it devastated about 85% of this island. You know, majority of the homes then were destroyed, including my parents' home, completely gone. Only the foundation was left to say that our home had been there. And because of that, the government, they decided to build some low-income homes. And low-income homes here is that equivalent to the projects. You know, those of you Americans, what you have there. But here we just call them low-income. And guys, you look to your left, all the homes that you see from the far end there, all the way down, all the way in, these are just some of the low-income homes that were built by the government. And homes like these, we have all across St. Martin, ST.MAARTIN. And they were built to withstand hurricane winds of up to 150 miles per hour. And that's why most of them survived the hurricane last year. And, you know, the persons who live in there, they do pay a fee. It depends on the amount of bedrooms that the home has. You know, it comes with 2 or 3 bedrooms, island-wide. So the 2 bedrooms, they can go from as low as $225 to, I think, $225 to $275 per month. And the 3 bedrooms are between $325 to $375 per month. And over a period of 15, 20 years, you know, they do have the possibility of becoming the homeowners. But there is a catch, guys, as if everything else, you know, there's always a catch. You know, they have to keep up with their monthly payments. You know, the tenants are missing a month here, 4 months over there, 6 months here, they will be disqualified. So to become the homeowners, you have to keep up with your monthly payments. You know, after the hurricane last year, I think they did get a grace period, but I think that is over, that's long over. And guys, you know, as you drive to the island, as you saw back there, you know, you see you have a lot of dogs, you know, walking the streets. And a lot of persons think that they're stray dogs. They are not stray dogs. You know, here on this island, guys, hardly anyone walks their dogs. Unless it's a little chihuahua or a little poodle or something, then you will find persons walking them. But the bigger dogs, you know, you just open the gates, they scratch the gates, you open the gates and they run out, run across the neighborhood, meet and greet other dogs, and then they come back to their yard. So that's what you find a lot here. You know, they don't really bark at anyone. Or if you have probably a pit bull, although they are banned here on this island, you know, you're not allowed to have pit bulls here. But there are a few persons who go undercover and have the pit bulls, but they're not allowed here on the island. So if you have some persons have pit bulls, sometimes they hide and they try to walk them in the neighborhood. But apart from that, the dogs walk themselves. Now guys, if you look there to your left, bordering the road, you can see some stone walls. And these walls are very, very low now. And that's because they have just fallen apart over the years. But walls like this we have all across ST.MAARTIN, ST.MAARTIN. You can see some to your right also. And they are called the slave walls because they were hand-built by the slaves many, many years ago to separate all the different plantations. Now, slavery was abolished on the French side of the island on the 23rd of May in 1848. And about 15 years later, 15 years, what took that so long? 15 years later, right here on the Dutch side, on the 1st of July in 1863. So the 1st of July here on the Dutch side, it is Emancipation Day, and it is celebrated as a national holiday. And guys, as you can guess, you know, the French side, they were emancipated 15 years before us. So of course, you know, you did find a lot of persons here, slaves here from the Dutch side. You know, they tried to make their way down to the French side. You know, they were caught, they were brought back, of course, to the Dutch side. They would bring you right back. And every 1st of July, you know, the local actors here, you know, we do have, you know, as part of our celebration, we do have a reenactment. So the local actors do a reenactment, you know, of, so they dress in the clothing that they had back then, and, you know, go through the hills and try to make their way down to the French side. So that's one of the celebrations, the things that we have here, we celebrate here on the island. It's an amazing, amazing sight. You know, it's like you are transported, you know, back to the 1700s and 1800s. Now the island of ST.MAARTIN, ST.MAARTIN, it was discovered, quotation marks discovered, by Christopher Columbus on the 11th day of November in 1493. And Columbus, he was on his second voyage to Puerto Rico and Hispaniola, which is known today as the Dominican Republic and Haiti combined. He was on his way there when he just sighted this island, Swaliga. And though he never set foot here, you know, he claimed it and renamed it San Martin after the Spanish Saint Martin of Tours. Now this island, guys, it changed hands about 16 different times, you know, between the Dutch, the French, the British, the Spanish, and the Portuguese. You know, back and forth. They would come here, you know, plunder it, take all the salts, leave it dry, and just leave. Someone else would come in, do the same thing. And that happened about 16 different times until it finally just fell back into the hands of the Dutch and the French. You know, they were just tired. You know, the Spanish were here, and they had driven them out. And the Dutch and the French decided, you know, guys, instead of fighting for this island, you know, as a singular country, why don't we just come together? You know, you're on one side, you're on the other side, because two, we are stronger. A fort on one side, a fort on the other, so we can just drive everybody else out. They never come back here. This is our island. And that's exactly what they did. You know, hence the signing of the Treaty of Concordia between the Dutch and the French on the 23rd day of May in 1648. So guys, as I said earlier, you know, it's been over 360, maybe 70 years since the Dutch and the French has been living here on this tiny piece of paradise. You know, in harmony with each other. So guys, we'll be there shortly. Perfect time. So you can start just gathering all of your personal belongings. You can start putting them together so that you don't leave anything on the bus. You know, there's just that small space of time, guys. When we go through the bus, we find anything that we can make that mad dash back down to you to get it to you on time. So just make sure that you have everything on your person, you know, before deboarding the bus. You know, I always suggest, guys, that before you deboard, when we get down to the bus terminal, before you deboard the bus, just turn around, look on your seats to make sure that nothing fell off. Because oftentimes the things that we find on the seats, guys, just please make sure that you have everything, as I said, on your person before deboarding. And also your ship cards, it is the same as your room key. You can also start getting them out right about now. So if you have them in your purses, guys, just start searching for them right now, because you are to show them at the security point. You know, the security will be coming directly into the bus to check on your passes. So make sure you have them at hand, otherwise you will be escorted off the bus. So make sure you have them at hand. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you know, parting can be such sweet sorrow, but alas, the time has come where I must say farewell. So guys, on behalf of Out Island Charters, our agent Maduro and Sons, the island government of ST.MAARTIN, your driver Jeffrey, and I, guys, I just want to say thank you all so much for coming on this tour with us today. Thank you all so much for booking with us, you know, the Out Island Charters. You guys on that boat will be home twiddling our fingers, so thank you all so much. Thank you for coming here, despite the hurricane, despite all the devastation. Thank you all for all your support. You know, 85% of the working population here depends on tourism. So guys, thank you all so, so much. You know, enjoy the rest of your journey. You know, have fun. You know, wherever you go, I have no idea where you guys are going tomorrow, but have fun. And guys, remember, no matter where you are, you know, when you go tomorrow, just remember to be vigilant. You know, even when you are home, you have to be vigilant, much less when you are someplace else. So just be aware of your surroundings wherever you go and be vigilant, because you want to get back home in one piece to your loved ones. So take care of yourself, guys, and come again. this time by air. Okay, guys?
Thank you. Thank you.
This time by air, not by water. Yeah. Thank you, guys. It's so much appreciated. And you know, guys, oftentimes, before we get down to the harbor, oftentimes, you know, we do get asked, you know, that, guys, how can we show appreciation to you all? So if you guys want to do that, you know, show appreciation to the driver and I, you know, especially for the driver doing such a good job, you can just do so in the basket up front, right there. And the driver and the tour guide, you know, they do divide it equally between them. So guys, make sure again you have your ship cards. And before we get down to the harbor, I just want to touch on one thing. You know, guys, oftentimes you do get asked, I do get asked on the tour, Bernice, what is the crime rate like on this island? Because it looks so quiet, like nothing happens here. You know, guys, wherever you're at, as long as you have people, you're going to find something is happening. But here, if you look at our crime rates, if you look at it as just numbers, you know, it may seem very low to you, very low. But if you look at it per capita, it is considered high. And last year, we had the most ever. We had about 7 here. That was 4 to the French and 3 to the Dutch. And when I speak of crime, guys, I speak of one that results in the death of a person, like a homicide. So last year we had the most ever, which was 7. And it is still considered high because of our population. You know, per capita, you know, 7 to 80,000, it is still considered high. But this is one of the safest islands in the Caribbean. Very safe. You know, most of the crimes that happen here, they're not random. You know, so you come here, you're not just gonna walk down the road and someone is gonna decide, oh, let me just pop this girl or this guy's lights out. You know, most of the crimes here is like crime with passion. You know, a few days ago we had our second homicide on the island. A few weeks ago. A few days ago, last week. Yeah, the second one.